As an OSM, you are tasked with obviously checking and ensuring that the rosters are correct and that the actual attendance is correct and in line with what your requirements are. So there's a number of ways and tools that are within the system that you can use to verify and check this information before you run your approvals. When you first log in, any outlets branches that you're responsible for will appear in a single list, and what this list will show you is which rosters have been submitted, which ones have been approved, actual submitted, actual approved, payroll approved, etc. for each of your different branches for each of the different months available. So it gives you a very quick overview of any outlets that owe you a roster for submission or actual or whatever the case is. Alright, for the exercise we were using PMB Street for September. We can see that the roster has been set and not yet approved. So we can open those rostered hours by simply clicking on the button, and we now get a list view of the rostered hours. Alright, obviously when they are submitted to you in real time, they will be an entire month of which you will go and inspect. Now, what you can do is you can view everything on the calendar view, which will give you a desktop calendar kind of view, which will show you exactly what has been rostered and what hasn't. Okay, if the records are blank, with a blank background, okay, the likes of these, what it means is that the outlet supervisor has rostered those and has left the default hours as default hours, and they have not edited the hours and confirmed that these are actual rostered hours. Okay, these ones here, the user has reopened those and they have actually verified that those have been rostered. So at a quick glance you can easily see which hours have been rostered by using the color coding. Alright, as the hours get passed through the various steps of temp transfers and actuals, you will see the background color of the records will change, making it very easy for you to assess which records have been rostered, which ones have been submitted for approval through the approval stages, and also temp transfers on any particular days. You have full flexibility in your selections, so you can go backwards to a historic month and you can go forward to a roster for the following month. Alright, so that's one of the tools that you can use, which will feed you information in your decision making process. Alright, one of the other tools that we can use, or that you can use, is the reports feature. So from the reports perspective, you have your overall monthly report, which is very similar to your calendar. You have your employee attendance, where you can filter down to a particular employee and you can view their totals that have been set for them. You can see the branch summary, which is basically everybody in the branch and the hours that and positions that have been rostered and or actuals for them. As the hours get passed from rostering to approval back to actuals, from actuals submitting them as actual back to you, and you submitting to payroll, reports will be generated where you can compare the number of rostered hours versus the number of actual hours. Alright, you can also see a summary view. So for this month and this year, for the entire outlet, there's the list of people, and you have your normal hours, Sunday hours, public holiday hours, etc. totaled vertically, and you have employee hours totaled horizontally. So very quick for you to be able to see which employees have been rostered for what number of hours for that particular branch. Alright, to get back to your detailed view, you literally go details, and once you've utilized these tools and you're happy with the rostering that has taken place, you can either approve or decline. If you choose to decline, it will send this information back to the outlet in its rostered format, and they can correct the roster. If you approve it, it will send them back as approved, and the supervisor can then record the actual hours. Okay, so we can go to September and we can go to approve, and at this point those hours have been sent back to the supervisor as approved, and they can now start logging and recording and sending back forward again the actual attendance hours for this branch. Alright, so from an OSM perspective, you have approved the roster, you've sent it back, and basically what's happened over the last few days, whatever the case is that the hours have now been recorded as actual and they have been sent back through to you. When you log back in, you will see at this point that this outlet for this month has submitted the actual attendance. Alright, so you can open it, and basically every record that has been captured is in order as a one-line entry. Alright, from a verifying and checking perspective, you can obviously use the calendar, which gives you an overview breakdown of exactly what has happened in that outlet. You can filter to 1 week, 2 weeks, or an entire month. Okay, you can filter out to particular months or whatever the case is, so you've got a complete overview on this particular outlet. Alright, what you can do is you can also use the reports. We have seen those reports. What we can do now, and I purposely altered some records so they were outside of what was originally rostered, and if you go to rostered versus actual, what you have is an instant report which says for this outlet for that month. Alright, that was your roster details here, those are your actuals there per position, and those are your differences in a percentage. Alright, by position, number of hours for each kind of hour, or each kind of payment breakdown should equate to that amount. Your actual equates to that amount, so what you actually have is that amount percentage difference. So from a budgeting perspective versus an actual, very, very simple to watch the performance of your outlet as the month proceeds. Alright, so basically using the reports and the calendar view, you will overview the entire outlet for the month, and when you are happy, you will basically filter to a single month and approve. If you are not happy, you are able to use these particular criteria, filter down to a particular record or a particular day, and you are able to decline. If we decline as it stands right now, we will decline the 1st of September, and the rest of the records will remain intact, waiting for the approval process. So what has happened is that has now gone back to the branch supervisor for them to correct, and they will send back to you, which will then carry on back through the process, and your approval is as simple as that.